YouTube. Once again, it's Kennard Vernon Stewart here for the podcast talking Auburn football. I would greatly appreciate it if you guys shared this particular video. Also, the comment section is really interesting, especially when we talk about certain topics. I'm not going to get off the Bo Nix train just yet. We're going to talk a little bit about that tonight. Also, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, man. I definitely appreciate the subscriptions. About 10 subscribers over the last few days. Before yesterday, hadn't done a video since, it was an easy 5 days ago. So I definitely appreciate the engagement and the continuation of the viewership and subscriptions. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger War Eagle. Real touchy subject on the plains. On the floor is Bo Nix, the subject of Bo Nix. The subject of whether he will do the Jason Campbell thing and blossom in the latter portion of his college football career. Now, from experience, not necessarily football experience, because my football experience doesn't stretch past high school. I was actually pretty good, though. All-state, honorable mention all-state middle linebacker. Had a whole bunch of tackles, man. I am on your ass for sure. But anyway, probably could have played a little college football, but man, when I got to college and I saw, that's why I have a lot of respect for these guys. When I saw all that you have to do to be a student athlete in college, even at the FCS level, because I called myself walking on at Alabama A&M. When I was a freshman there, I eventually transferred to Auburn. I was like, man, F this is way too much work. I don't want to do it. It wasn't that I couldn't do it. I was going through the workouts and all this other stuff, but I was like, between trying to be social and trying to be studious and then having this full-time job as a collegiate athlete, absolutely not. I have the utmost respect for any collegiate athlete. Walk-ons, whether you start, if you got that uniform on, I have the utmost respect for you, because it says a lot about your work ethic. And especially the guys that can leave, these graduate athletes, and then these graduate athletes that's hitting the transfer portal. I'm talking about the love for the game on these guys' behalf is absolutely epic, because that's hard work, man. So if anyone ever thinks that I'm bad-mouthing Bo Nix, that is absolutely not the case. So Bo Nix is a touchy subject. Bo Nix is a very sensitive subject for the Auburn football fan base. I wouldn't say that the fan base is divided on the feelings about Bo Nix, but there is some feathers ruffling as far as where we are with Bo Nix at this point. And why is this such a touchy subject? Well, number one, his dad played football there. Patrick Nix had some great moments at Auburn. Some may consider him and at least kind of close to being a, Auburn great or definitely a memorable quarterback from Auburn. Went to college at Auburn. Now his son is at Auburn. And what's the deal? Why are we so hung up? Why are we so sensitive about the Bo Nix issue? Well, he's family. He's Auburn family, right? And we want him to be genuinely successful. We don't want Bo Nix to be a flop. As a matter of fact, we don't need Bo Nix to be a flop. First 5-star recruit maybe in Auburn history since they started doing this whole 5-star thing. Kind of need Bo Nix to be successful. Number two, the sensitivity also comes from the fact that Bo Nix was pretty much thrown in the fire freshman year. There wasn't a player since the 40s, 50s at Auburn that was played as a true freshman, especially with that ridiculous schedule that Auburn had that year, right? Navigated through it, 9-4. You could debate whether some of the stuff was his fault, whether it wasn't. Offensive line wasn't necessarily the best. Play calling, you got a brand new offensive coordinator in Kenny Dillingham, who was kind of not the offensive coordinator from what I could gather. Gus Malzahn seemed to be kind of pulling the strings there. And didn't all the way work out. 9-4 though. I think probably should have had a great chance to beat Georgia. A nice little comeback win, or at least at worst push Georgia into overtime. And then, Minnesota, there was a lot of crazy stuff happening. Christian Tuck with the little goofy punt return miss recovered by Minnesota when Auburn clearly had the momentum. But hey, it is what it is. Fast forward now, Bo Nix, one of the more tenured quarterbacks in the SEC, and obviously not receiving many of the accolades that you would expect from a 5-star recruit, and for various reasons. You talk about accuracy issues, you talk about some of his lack of show up in the big games. But now this is a touchy subject, though, because as we dive into Bo Nix as a quarterback at Auburn, you really have to dissect, has he had the consistent opportunity to be a really good quarterback at Auburn? Now, the accuracy issues are there, under 60% for sure. But when you look at games where Auburn competes against some of the more higher tier defensive lines, some of the more higher tiered, well-coached defensive programs in the SEC, Kirby Smart. I mean, when you look at the schematics of what Kirby Smart was able to do against Auburn, Kirby Smart, obviously the coach at Georgia, just for some of you who don't know. Exotic looks, exotic blitz packages to where the offensive line looked absolutely lost. And how can a quarterback really combat that? Several situations where Bo Nix drops back, missed assignments. He has a guy immediately in his face as soon as the ball snaps. So we can't blame him for that. We also can't blame him for the errant passes. But moving forward, as far as this being a touchy subject, I hate to use this in unison, but I'll just say Will Friend come up with the film study, come up with the schematics to where the offensive line can combat this stuff? I'm talking about we're missing double teams. We're missing the left tackle getting whooped on the sideline. And Bo Nix doesn't have a chance to make a play. So that's why I want to come on here and tell you all. Now, I really see one of the things that people can say about me, if they really know me, is when I pick on you, it's because I really like you. And I really like Bo Nix. I like his ability. I like his capability. I like what he can potentially bring to this Bryan Harsin offense that I've seen in doing video footage, even with Boise State. I think Bo Nix can enhance what Bryan Harsin does. Will he? That's a question for the floor. Do I think he has the capability of being a elite quarterback in the SEC? I think so. Now, here's how that's going to work. Here's what that can look like if Bo Nix is going to be an elite quarterback in the SEC. Touchy subject now. And I would add some video footage, but I always get copyright strikes for all that. So I got to do a little bit more research to see how I can, stop doing that. Getting the copyright strikes. But I think there's a lot of opportunities with hot routes, with wide receivers with the fake picks. And Auburn taking advantage of opportunities in between the hash marks. They haven't done it. There have been several situations where Bo Nix drops back, clean pocket or not. There's no hot routes. You got to do some quick stuff, especially at the beginning of football games. I'll use Penn State as an example. If Auburn is going to be successful against Penn State, they got to hit that quick stuff in a hurry. Javaris Johnson, Kobe Hudson, right? If they don't do it, then we're going to be back to square one. But I don't think Brian Harsin, being the quarterback coach that he can potentially be, and being strategic in making these things happen, I think this gives Bo Nix the opportunity to really be successful. Because with the schematics at times, now against non-elite teams like your any team that's not Alabama or Georgia, Bo Nix has done pretty well. When he drops back, he sets his feet. It's a wrap. You can't stop him. But when you talk about what Kirby Smart did as far as maneuvering linemen around, showing these different types of blitz packages, not only did it confuse Bo Nix, but it confused the offensive line. So let's just say, for example, when there was a situation where you had a block down kick out not happening because the offensive line didn't respond as such. Now Bo Nix is running for his life. Is that his fault? Absolutely not. So it's really hard to analyze whether Bo Nix can be elite if at the base level, at the fundamental level, the blocking schemes is not there for him to begin with. Throwaways, interceptions, things of that nature come into play. I like Bo Nix. I just want to let you guys know, especially for some of you, I was like, oh, get off of Bo Nix's back. Why are you always talking about Bo Nix? No, I like Bo Nix. When he's suited up, I feel the same way I feel about Bo Nix, the same way I felt about Jeremy Johnson. I think it is potential deferred. Like this video. Or if you don't want to like it, don't. But I really want you to subscribe to the channel. Also, share this video to as many media outlets as you can, because I don't think we are fairly depicting, I don't think we have enough sample size as far as coaching, as far as offensive line, as far as even Bo Nix, his youthfulness, to make a solidified judgment of what he brings to the table as an Auburn quarterback. And as always, it's great to be an Auburn Tiger, War Eagle.